outside probably won't be picked up by the mobile, but having been out, this is all staged, set up, completely anti-human, anti-life programmed, apparently normal work noise that goes on day in and day out, week after week, month after month, year after year, and they turn it up and down according to your mood, your feelings, and also how much energy they need from you, and also whether I'm recording, which is why it's now turned off, because as soon as I go to get the mobile and turn the record sound on, they turn the sound down or off, and then 99% of the time they've got it going. So that is just their cunning anti-life, anti-human program that they wage against human being in the inner west section, which is really a totally satanic military control base. All these descriptions just describe the reality that they serve and operate in these programs for the God of this world. And that sounds very impressive and spiritual, etc., but it's just a cold hard reality really of the powers that be's army, which is in the form of military operatives, and these operatives are usually like plain clothes operatives, or like army personnel that work in what appear to be regular occupations. So they make up the entire council and every bit of work that is done in the inner west of the city of Sydney. And they all work together with stage set up work programs almost everywhere you go, and the rest is their android army of civilians that range from the tiniest ones right through to very old. And of course, as most are totally created beings that are technical in nature, you have baby through to 100, and of course there are aspects of this that I don't understand yet, so I would recommend that military plane go. I would recommend that in order to know the reality, if you aren't of an academic nature like myself, you just watch every science fiction movie ever made, and you would I would probably even then get a much more accurate picture of the technical scientific reality, if you know what I mean. But that would take a lot of time and a lot of concentration to do that, and also some of it would be quite advanced, I would think. But movies tend to present things in a story where it is comprehensible, to where you don't have to be a great intellectual or be part of science or higher educational things. You don't have to. You would probably, if you watched every single deliberately programmed and deliberately put out there movie about past, present and future of the earth, you would probably be able to understand the reality in a real way. But unfortunately, up because they turned the sound off. I just wanted to sort of have a little record of the noise sound program that is waged. But basically I've always got something in my ears, because I just come back from down the street and barely had the energy to get back, because although I started out with more energy and actually only bought one or two things and even bought a cup of coffee, basically you're completely depleted by the time you come in your door. And that is because you are always surrounded by these beings, and the traffic is like demons on wheels, literally. It's like being in a horror movie, except that it looks normal but sounds very alien and very, as though all the vehicles and their drivers are possessed. And this is close to the truth. And notice how that noise made it when I said that. It's because that's the artificial intelligent reality around me, and its android beings actually coming back at me in a non-verbal way. But it's the same as saying yes when they make loud noises as I speak or think something. I don't have to speak it, I only have to think it. You have your imitation human beings walking around on the other side of the road. If you're limping, they limp. If you're doing any mannerism at a physical level, even simple, minute things, they emulate them, which is very disturbing when you see it, and you wonder why, but essentially that's because they are trying so hard to camouflage their true, what they truly are, basically, I think. And notice how that noise went yes, if the mobile picks it up. But unfortunately they'll probably turn the sound right up as soon as I stop recording, but I can't just keep using up energy running for it only for them to turn it on and off, up and down at their own will, because they have access to the past, present and future of my mind. They wouldn't know it if they couldn't access my mind, but they actually do. Of course, it's also quite likely that these beings have abilities that are just technical but not human. In other words, they can possibly read the human mind, but also have more knowledge from their powers that be and their God about past, present and future things. but they, would be using this to control the mind and the frequency of a human being. It's like living on a construction site or a battlefield just in this local area. It's like they use sight and sound to affect the human mind. If you're living on a construction site and everywhere you walk in the suburb is like being on a construction site, and every vehicle is like an army tank that makes an aggressive noise as though it's about to attack, you feel under threat all the time. And you are, because it's a slow death, because it slowly affects your mind, and your mind affects your body, etc., etc. And it's very slow and just methodically carried out by all these beings with their systems around you, their systems of control and their systems of threatening and trying to make you behave as they want you to. Basically, they want you to behave as though you don't exist, because they seem to resent you doing inconsequential, simple, silly things, or even just things that you wouldn't think would matter. Certainly not things that an army or a war should be waged against a human being because of. But that's because they can't stand any positive frequency or vibration, and they see minute human actions as a positive vibration. They are extremely controlling and possessive of controlling the human mind. They think that if they can possess it and control it, that they will have some sort of eternal life or something to that effect. And I'm not sure why the birds still twerp with all the mechanical noises that go on day after day. It's kind of like that stop and start too with the mechanical noises that's extremely disturbing to the human senses. Where it's like you don't know when it's like these vehicles and the people that pop out continuously around you wherever you go. They spring out in front of you, in and out of houses and crossing streets in front of you, and cars pulling in and out in front of you, stopping in the middle of the road as you go past. Huge traffic jams even on streets where there should be no cars at all, but proving that is not possible to an outsider, even though I know, because if you've lived in an area for years, you know that back streets and particular places should be empty, but instead they've got traffic jams with these vehicles draining your energy as they slowly move and bank up around you. Planes are overhead, but they're playing possum. They're not making their usual very loud noise. Why that is the case, I wouldn't know, because if they go over, they should always make the same noise, and they usually do, but they're playing possum for this video. It's funny how they have to have your attention and the limelight everywhere you go and try to take over your mind and disturb you, and yet when you want to put them in the limelight on a video, they become very shy and play possum and hide. Isn't that a coincidence? But I am tired, so I can't be in here on my own.